So what we're going to do is we're going to click on this, make sure the bottom's a little bit bigger. So R is to bring up the scale. If you click on R, or these sides will bring it up as well. So this is to translate, maybe, never mind, mine aren't set up the way they should be.
Well, make it fatter.
So if you click on the object, click R, that'll bring up your scaling. E brings up your rotating, and W brings up your moving. But to make him bigger, we want it to be R. So if you're going to make him bigger, make sure you make him bigger evenly by going into the yellow. When I first did it, I was like, okay, I need to make it bigger, and I did this. So make sure that you go into the center of it. Make him bigger. For Max to rotate your scene, it's Command and then left click, and that will rotate it around. Scale in and out is the Alt and right click.
I'm looking like straight down on it.
Okay, so click your space bar
Oh, okay.
and go into your perspective. So just hover your mouse over whichever view you want, and that will bring you in the one you want.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
So that opens up your perspective view. That's really great if you're modeling a character and you have to see the side profile along with the front, or you have to model them at the same time. That helps a lot. So we're gonna go here, and then if you get lost and you're like all the way out here and you can't see it anymore, if you click F, that'll bring you back to the object you have selected.
Now, mine has like, I think I'm in like a weird perspective.
Where are you at?
It won't let me do anything. Like,
So you're in the vertex. So
Okay.
I'm gonna right click.
okay.
I understand
Okay.
perfectly working fine and whole hard drive cranked up. So
Alright, so and then if you want to move like your image over, it's Command middle click or the Control middle click.
Oh.
So the middle click on your mouse. That'll move it.
If you don't have a mouse, what do you do? I mean,
I believe it's 2 fingers. If you don't have a mouse, it's the Control 2 fingers. No, that's not it. That brings up that one. 3 fingers rotates it. I'm not sure how you do it without the mouse.
I'm just gonna. Well,
There are people who do it with a trackpad, and I'm like, I don't understand. I need to have like a mouse.
You just get used to it.
Yeah, like honestly. Okay, so if we go back to our concept, you can see that it's more oval than it is circular. So to make it more oval, we're gonna grab this green one and kind of bring him down to squash him a little bit. And then I'm gonna scale him up a little bit more. If you don't like this grid, like I preferably do not like the grid in my way, you can turn it off. By clicking this little button right here, it looks like the grid up. That takes the grid off. Just, I don't know why, but it gets in my way of like seeing my whole model and it drives me a little nuts. So I don't personally like it. Okay, so we've got the bottom. So obviously there's 2 more. The easiest way to do this, instead of dropping in another circle, because you're gonna have to squish it down again, you can do Command or Control D, and as you can see, it kind of got like a weird look to it. Go to W and pull up, and that will duplicate your exact object. Okay? So,
No, it's okay. I'll be having that. I just wanted to say the thing gets through. So it did smell outside.
alright, so now that we've got our second ball up there, get them to where you like it, and then we're going to have to scale it down because it's obviously smaller than the last one. So scale them down to where you think will be good. Now we've got 2. Then we do it one more time, so click on the smallest ball, the middle one, and you do Command D, and then W to bring up your move tool and pull them up. And then again, click R for your scale tool, scale them down, and And with the head, it's not as flat as the rest of the body. So we're gonna bring up the scaling on the head to make it a little bit more round. And there is your snowman. If you wanted to get nitpicky with it, you could go in to like say I wanted just this bottom half to be longer. If I right click, I bring up this menu and it can give me a bunch of different options. UV is when you UV unwrap it. For texturing, you usually won't use that for a while. There's object mode, which selects the whole object. Edge, you can select certain edges. Vertex will bring up those little middle, so if you get these, that's what those are. And if you wanted to like just move one. So if it's black, it's going inside of your model. If it's white, it's not. So if it's black, this is going to show up as a hole.
Hey, Kaysha,
Hmm?
I did it again.
Where the birds came up?
No, I was able to fix that, but like my different views, I'm still looking down on it. but-
Spacebar?
Yeah, I did spacebar, but now I've got like, I have a weird view again.
Click over to this right here.
Okay.
That'll bring up your perspective view.
Oh, okay. Ooh. Yeah.
Alright, and then face. You can select individual faces or multiple faces. So say I wanted to bring the bottom part down for some reason. I'm going to go into the front view. Because when I'm in the front view, when I'm in perspective, I've been moving this around and rotating it. Oops. And rotating it so it's not quite on a straight view for me. So if I go here and I click faces and I'm saying, alright, there's this, as you can see, it's not even all the way around. If I go in the front view, it'll be completely straight and even when I select it all. So I can move and just scale my selected faces. Say I wanted my snowman to look like that.
Girls
The girl snowman, make a dress.
How do you copy the ball again?
So select the ball,
Yeah.
Command D or Control D,
Okay.
and then W to bring up this tool and you move it.
Ah.
Alright, so I'm going to zoom in to my middle piece again, and I'm just going to bring in a new circle. Pull it out. If you ever don't know what these colors, like what direction they mean, you can always look down here and you'll see X is red, Z is blue, green is Y. And then yellow is just your center. Alright, so I'm going to scale it down and I'm going to make a little button.
I was like, what are we adding on this thing?
A button. Alright, so I'm going to go in the center and I'm going to make my button as big as I want. I'm going to kind of push it in. I want it to be a little bit bigger than that. Alright, so he has 3 on this one. So we'll make 3. Alright, so they're on his middle circle. So I'm just going to stick the button in. There's one button, and then I'm going to click Command D and bring up my W. Pull it down. I'm just going to pull it straight down because if I use the center tool and I move it, it looks like it's still in line, but as you can see it's not. Command Z is your undo. Kind of the generic undo is Command Z. So I'm just going to duplicate it, pull it straight down, and pull it out. I like it.
We playing with this all weekend.
Yeah, that's what I did when I first got it.
You're not the only one.
Why
This is so
rotate it?
cool.
I'm rotating it just to get it at the angle I want it to be.
But
So-
it's a sphere, so.
I know, but I'm nitpicky and I can see a difference.
Okay.
I've been
Yeah,
doing
Kevin.
this long enough. I can see a difference. So I want this to be perfectly on, so I'm just going to make that 0. And I'm going to push this
Now your top button looks wrong.
in a little bit.
Alright. That's better.
yeah, you'll do something, you're like, this looks good, and then you come back to it, you're like, oh, no, it doesn't. Okay. And then I'm going to duplicate it one more time.
That's just Control D.
Control D. And then rotate it. So yeah, like, you guys probably can't see the difference when I'm rotating it, but I can explain.
Oh, I see what it does.
Makes it so it's
Now
That was
now
a
how
good,
can you
like,
compare,
photo in front of
you're just eyeballing it to make sure they're the same depth?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you wanted to be extremely nitpicky about it, this is where your grid can come in handy. Like I said, I normally don't use it. So say I wanted it to be this corner, middle, and then this corner
Right.
to my grid, so I move this up and out, move this up and in.
See, now you centered it, now it looks better.
So now it's all centered. So that's where your grid can come in handy. So this is the side view, where you're obviously looking at your character from the side.
Right.
Your top-down view. Yeah, it's pretty even on center, so I'm quite proud of that drive on. And then this is your front. And then perspective is the one where you can rotate. The difference between these views is if I try to rotate it, it'll come up saying orthographic view. You can't tumble.
What's your shortcut to like move around in the grid?
So move around in the grid is spacebar. So if you bring up spacebar, this should come up. If this doesn't come up,
Look, yeah, I did that. I'm talking about like when you're actually looking
He
at it.
means move in perspective.
Yeah,
the hotkey,
yeah.
it's Alt and then right click.
Oh,
Alt
I
and right.
do that. I'm talking like right now. I'm looking at it. I zoom in, but it's just zooming in. But I want to be able to like move up and down and things like that.
Oh, okay, moving up and down, that's Alt, and then your middle button,
Ah, that okay.
and that will move your object up and down. Alright, so we've got our snowman with our 3 buttons, and he has 2 eyeballs. So instead of making, a new sphere, I'm just gonna duplicate this one. I'm duplicating the one that was completely front facing and not rotated. Pull this up. And those should actually be big enough because the head's small. So I'm gonna switch. Bring this up to where I like it. Make a cyclops snowman. So for his head, I'm gonna rotate it in just a little bit. Okay. And then I'm just gonna duplicate that and move it over to the other side. That is undo. Okay. So now I've got my snowman.
His eyes look lopsided.
Yeah, I know.
His right eye's too high.
You ain't the only nitpicky one in here.
Oh no, I'm horrible at it. You can ask Kevin right there. He'll tell you.
Now, is there like a quick grid you can bring up to ensure that it's perfectly even?
Your front facing grid.
That's about it.
Is there a line?
This was one
You can do a duplicate special, but for a snowman, it doesn't make a difference. But so I go here, everything's at 0, right? Hold on. Okay, so I just made this all 0 out. So as you can tell, that is not on 0, 0, 0 because it's all the way down where his butt is. But so what I did was I just highlighted and freezed everything. So this is where, if I want it to go back to 0, this is where this object will go. So if I wanted to be extremely precise and having it duplicate, I'll go File, Edit, Duplicate Special. I'm going to bring this up. I was working on an environment, and so it's like all out of whack. I don't want 7, I just want 1. Alright, so X, Y, Z, eyes, Actually, this should work just fine. Alright, so the translate, these are all just say X, Y, Z. Translate is moving it. Rotating it, scaling is scaling it. So if I wanted it to be, my second one to be a bigger scale, I could change the scale of it. This will give me how many numbers. I only want one other I. Did not work.
But you put it right where it was.
I just put it right where it was. I did. Okay, so I'm gonna move it 1. So if I apply it, no, I need to select it. So if I apply it to 1, you can see where it moved it. So if I wanted to be extremely precise, I would do it like that. So obviously it needs to go that way, so it's -1.
It's directly across from it.
And it's directly across from it.
That's crazy.
So if I wanted to be absolutely precise on my spacing, like obviously I only want to move it like -0.5 from where I moved it, actually more like -0.8. That's where I would move it to. But I just have a feeling we're gonna have a weird looking eye swimming. Alright. So if I wanted to be precise like that, I could. Or if I really was decided to be just completely crazy precise, I could always combine all of this together. So if I wanted, no, that's just that. So I would select all my objects, and then Shift and Control right click will also bring up different options. So obviously I've got all these options I can do. So this is normal right click. This one is Shift right click, where I've got like extruding and all these different options, and I'll show you extruding in a minute when we make the hat. And then Command right click, and this will give you diverts to the edges. It will convert your object. So I'm just going to come down here and combine this all into one. Delete half of my face.
What? Oh,
We're gonna go in here and do it this way.
I'm still not even on buttons. Would you use to select that?
Hmm?
Would you use to select half of your face?
I just right clicked and dragged.
Oh, okay.
But she combined it into one.
I've
big
combined
thing.
it into one mesh.
The eyes, the head, she already had it in there, she only knows.
Yeah, as you can see when you combine it, that does not get rid of your mesh inside of it. And if
Now
you're
you're
making
just gonna
video
copy
games,
the other half of your head and
Yep.
slap it together.
So
That is
so
exactly-
this would be another way to like get rid of some polygons.
Mhm. Yeah. So when you're making video games, you don't want back-facing polygons. So if I was making this for a game, I would delete half of his eyeball and just have a hole there.
Because there's no use rendering
There's
something
no
that's not
use rendering
visible.
something that no one's gonna see. And if it's inside of his head, no one's obviously gonna see it.
I would do it anyway.
Unless you're Assassin's Creed.
Unless you're Assassin's Creed. Alright, so I'm
Can you do
gonna
that?
change.
Yeah,
For
you
my
can-
scale.
Yeah.
Alright,
You can see
so
through their characters.
duplicate this. There's 2 ways you can do it. You can do the duplicate special like I did before, and just, so we'll do that one. I always do this wrong because I get the scaling wrong on it, so it's gonna take like 2 times. So I don't want to move it, I don't want to rotate it, but I want to scale it to -1 on the X. So if I apply it, that'll automatically scale it, and I can just move it over, and my eyes are perfectly even.
Look at that.
So that does not make it into one mesh. I'm gonna bring up my grid to make sure it looks okay. Alright, so I've lined that up. The only thing that kind of is a pain with this is that I have to go into combine it, and I have to go into vertex. I have to select everything down the middle, and I have to merge all my vertices together. That is the one thing that can be a pain.
It took you like 5 seconds.
I
There's no
know.
snapping function in them?
What?
There's no snapping points in them?
Nope. You can snap vertices together, but that is manual.
This one looks like he's got how many belly buttons.
Alright,
Very nice.
so I'm just gonna, no, I did not want to do that. I'm gonna separate all these so they're all different objects.